You had mentioned in the past that spring for you is a time to get repetition, run what you guys know and sort of perfect it. Expand on that a little bit. What's sort of the thinking behind that?
We have a certain number of players that you all are familiar with: Mason, Washington, Jarrell Owens, Trey Flowers, Lacey, McCleskey, some guys that at our level we would call veteran players. They need to get some quality work, and then we need to get them out. And then the second wave of players who could have been redshirted or in a third-year redshirt that haven't had as much experience, that need to give us 30 or 40 plays a game, they need spring ball. So there's a difference there. And that's where I think most coaches and most teams across the country have changed. When I was playing, we got all the reps, whether you're a starter or not. Well, now we've gone back to, if you're somewhat of a proven starter, we're going to lessen the load on your body. We're going to give the young guys some quality work, and then try to simulate a game the best we can, as we do at the end of practice every day for 50 plays.
Was there a time where you'd introduce new stuff in spring? Has that been a change of philosophy for you personally? Or?
Well, let me not mislead you. We still introduce some new stuff, but not as much as what we did years ago. It used to be more of an experimental practice. Now it's more base and getting the younger players reps and quality work. We still work on some things that we think could help us in the fall, but we're a little bit leery of putting in something and work on it and then not run it back and use it in the fall, and then ultimately we wasted reps. So we're trying to be a little more careful about wasting reps on things that would be experimental.
You appreciate music. I didn't get a chance to ask Josh Henson this, but an old Rolling Stones lyric comes to mind with your offensive line for this year. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you get what you need.
Right.
Is that kind of a good motto for that group?
I think so. That's an interesting group, obviously with losing Victor and Mike, but we have a quality group back. Larry comes back as somewhat of a veteran player because he played for, 6 games or something. And then we have that second wave that I was talking to Kyle about, of guys that need to get some quality work. Lundblade is back practicing now full speed, but he's an example of a guy that we won't give a lot of work. We know where he's at. We know what we're going to get out of him. But they have an advantage because we have terrific skill on the perimeter. That makes their life a lot easier. From a physical standpoint. Now, mentally, they could get a lot of different things if people feel like they're backed into a corner and they need to take chances to slow these guys down. There's no reason to hide it. I don't know what's out there in the country, but our skill's pretty good. We can throw it around a little bit and run it and catch it and make some plays.
How has the OSU transfer receiver looked so far?
Tyron's done good. I call him Tyron. I did nickname him Nola, but then he said his nickname was T-Bill, and then somebody called him something else yesterday. So I think he has a variety of names based on what circumstance and where he's at in life, unfortunately. But he's done great for us. He's bought into OSU culture, or Cowboy culture, I guess I should say. He's been really good. It's real early, Coach told me a long time ago, be careful about drinking the Kool-Aid too early. But up to this point, he's been pretty impressive in practice and so I think his credentials, his measurements, his movement, his cerebral capability to learn and understand, his toughness right now is very good. So he's showing some promise there, and we hope that he stays healthy because he's got some of the numbers we look for of a guy that can potentially play early. I know that's why you're asking, because we need him to play early.
How is the Ramon Richards experiment going so far? I know you're early in spring ball, but
yeah, we can tell a little more there because we do a lot of 7-on when we don't have pads on, and he seems to be doing fine. My personal opinion, again, I'm not a defensive guy, but he's better out there roaming around than he is kind of locked in a certain area, because he's like those people that you work with that you're talking to and they never look at you because they're thinking of something else and they're working over here on something. That's the way Ramon is. So he's better out there just freelancing and seeing what's going on and running the ball than he has been in a preoccupied area, in my opinion.
Do you feel like pass coverage-wise, whatever he gives you in terms of run support, that it's going to outweigh playing a former corner at safety, getting that extra cover guy in the secondary at the back end?
Yes. We think. And a lot of that is based on who you're playing and what their strengths are and whether you need a guy that's athletic in that part of the field to help with a number of receivers. Like, for example, if I was playing us, I would want people in the middle of the field that can move, because we have a number of guys this year that can hurt people all over the field. But if you're playing a team that's more centrally located and in the run phase, then he wouldn't be as valuable back there. So I think what Glenn and Coach Hammer and Duffy are looking for is to see through these next 10 practices what he brings to the table from that standpoint, and if he can help us in the majority of the games, because you have to play the percentages. You know, it's like Tommy Lasorda said, I'm going to steal the base if that percentages are that guy can be safe. Well, if the percentages say that he helps us the majority of the year at that position, then that's probably where we should play him.
I know you lost several backs from last year. How are they looking so far?
You know, obviously Justice won't be with us in the spring. He had a scope on his shoulder. He's fine, doing really well, but LD and Carr and J-Ron, those guys are going to get a lot of work. Jakeem is with us. He's been with us for a while. So we had that discussion this morning in the staff meeting, and in those reps that we're talking about, I'm going to go back to that second wave of guys. They fall into that category. We have to push them. We have to punish those guys in the spring and see what they can do. They're in a position that you're going to take a lot of hits, and you have to be physically driven and mentally driven to play when you're hurt. And we need to find out this spring if those guys are tough enough to do that. Fortunately for us, if not, you play four wides. We have some options there, but you guys that have been around here a long time know that I would prefer to play two backs and run them. And last year is pretty a pretty good barometer for what I think and we think we need to be successful at offensively.
Is there a lot of confidence that Trey Carter can make a difference inside for you guys this year on the line?
Trey played good in the bowl game. He was he played in this bowl game like Brailford played against Ole Miss, and then Brailford didn't get to play, and so I was upset for him because he was really coming on. Trey played that way in the bowl game, so he's been here now. This will be his fourth year, I think, but he's been in the program long enough now. It's time for him to make plays, and he's showing that he should be able to help us. Those guys have to give us 40 really good plays because we're deep enough to get two guys in there.
Mitchell Brailford, his return, what does that mean to you? Coach Pitts was saying it means a lot.
Sure. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that are, here, I mean, I don't know about other schools, but we don't get a number of guys that are as athletic as he is that can play his position. And for you guys that have watched him develop over 3 years, his body's changed considerably. And if he stays healthy and plays like he should, he would be a guy that could impact our defense as much as anybody on the field. All those things have to play into it, but up to this point so far, he's holding up.
Defensive back's probably your youngest spot. How much does that help them develop when they're going against guys like Mason, the receivers you guys have?
They're learning on the run, and that makes them good. That's one advantage of this style of play that we use that we've noticed over the last 6 or 8 years. A comparison is you don't get enough looks at short yardage and heavy sets, but you get a lot of looks at covering really talented skill kids in space. And so they won't get any better tutoring than they're getting in practice.
Mike, I know you got asked a version of this yesterday, but you got alums coaching football, wrestling, baseball. Why has that worked out for those particular sports? Could it work in basketball too?
Well, I think Oklahoma State is a unique place. This is a college town. There's a different style and type of people associated with this university, this community. And, I've said this a number of times. I don't know how successful that I could be coaching anywhere else. I would use the same formula that we've used here. But I know a lot about Oklahoma State because I've been here for a long time. And so I think there's an advantage to people that are accustomed to this culture or adjust to it. And the one thing that Underwood did is he bought in from day one. He went right to the Iva family, went right to the Suttons, embraced Gallagher Iva Arena, embraced the students. So even though he wasn't a grad of here, he embraced everybody and brought them in like he was one of us. And I've been at 3 schools, and they were all good schools, but it's just a different feel here at Oklahoma State than it is the other 2 places I've been. Right, wrong, or indifferent doesn't make it any difference.